So please welcome for the second time, Olgitta Woods to the show. Welcome, Olgitta.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
You're so welcome. It's without Max, which was the who caught my attention. I said to the last episode, and if anyone's listening and hasn't listened to their episode, it was episode 188, and it was back in November. But when I met Olgitta, and why I'm bringing her on again is we've had this outpouring outreach to help parents wondering how Olgitta parents and wondering how I parent. And I know when you see Max, and he's 7 years old, almost 8, watching how he is and how he responds to the world and what she has instilled in him, that is, and it has no doubt in my mind that is why you've gotten so many people reaching out to you, asking you, how do you parent this child that is so confident, so strong, and knowing how the world works beyond the school system? And we'll go into that in a little bit. But and then for me, and I have the teenage versions of my parenting. So we see I always call it the fruit of my labor in this world now with them as they are in high school and Paige getting ready for college. And you never know when you're programming and
Mhm.
instilling these tools in your children when they're little, how, it's going to show up in the world and how they're
Yeah.
going to show up. And
Mhm.
when you see the fruit of my labor, the fruit of our labor, that's when you say, okay, we need to, this is amazing. This
Mhm.
are all of the things we believe and teach,
Mhm.
it's all in these children that are already know it. They're just remembering it and now we're allowing them to live it.
Mhm.
So, Olgita, if people haven't listened to episode 188, we went into it a little bit, but we also talked a lot to Max. So
Mhm.
today it's going to be a focus on what we've come to this place where we both want to collaborate and create this
Mhm.
program,
Mhm.
and we're excited about it. We've had so much response, but we wanted to do an episode to explain the program, but kind of I want to start before we go into the program,
Mhm.
and I want to explain your background and why you parent the way you do, and kind of your childhood. And I mean, I think it's so fascinating, the story about how you explained it in episode 188 when you said you didn't think you didn't even know what a baby was, or you had to read
Yeah.
a book and all that. It's just so, and to me, I
Yeah.
had children so much later. I had done I was so like, ready to like instill these beliefs that I've thought so strongly about. So take it on, Olita.
Yeah. So, I always wanted to be a mother, but I was always afraid of kids. I didn't know what to do with them. I was never around kids. I was trying to kind of like avoid them. And yeah, they literally like scared me. Like they're loud, you need to entertain them, you need to do this and that. Like I never had younger siblings, so for me it was like shocking. But I knew that I wanted to be a mother, and I always wanted to have a son. And I kind of invited him. I was like, "Hey, pick me as a mother." I was talking to him all the time, just like I'm talking to my daughter right now.
Okay.
So when I became a mother, before no when I was pregnant, I read all these kinds of books like how to bring up a child, and all these books they were saying how to train a child, how to adjust him into your lifestyle, how to change the child so that he's convenient to what you're used to. So those were the books I'm reading. And one of them was literally telling that if the child is crying, you shouldn't pick him up. You should just ignore because they need to learn to soothe themselves. How crazy is that?
Right.
And
And I did
that
the
was
opposite too.
this is so bad. Yeah. So that these are the books I was reading because I was like terrified that he's gonna just kind of like destroy my world, lifestyle, and stuff like that. So when I became a mother, completely the opposite thing happened. not only I couldn't ignore him crying, I couldn't put him down.
Right.
He was literally always with me. I was carrying him everywhere. We went on hikes, so we were cooking together. He was like, I got all this, what is it called? Like the carriers.
Those
So he
baby
was always,
carriers. Yeah.
yeah, he was always with me, like hanging like with his little legs and stuff like that. So he was like attached to me. And the fear of him not to be independent dissolved the minute I had him, because it's like these books were all not true. Like I'm not gonna follow them.
Right.
This is I don't know who wrote them. Probably they're not good mothers. But if you want to have a very independent child, you have to show him love.
Right.
So that was my thing. That was like my discovery. And I never was afraid of him to be like dependent on me or stuff like that, because I kind of felt like the more love I give to him, the more confident he's going to be, because he's a son.
Right.
And when I was looking for like-minded parents, I brought him to playgrounds, like stuff like that, because I didn't have friends with kids. All my
Hmm.
friends were childless, and we were like, going to Vegas and
Oh,
party, and like I was the one who had a child, who got married, had a child, and all my friends, of course, kind of disappeared because I have a child
right.
now, right? Like a couple of them left, so I needed new friends. So I was looking and brought him to. We went to this kids stuff places, and I was looking at the parents, looking with who I can connect, and I didn't find any, because these are not my parenting style, and most of them were like not present. It's almost like they went to these places to get rid of a child, to
Right.
just have a break, you know?
Hmm.
Or when they went to groceries or restaurants, I saw all these parents with a kid just watching, like staring at some cartoon, because they can't have a conversation without child being on the phone, and that's completely not my style. Like I never wanted him to be on the phone or on the cartoons. We went to the restaurants together, and yeah, he acted, but it was manageable. It was, and they get used to that. They get
Right.
used to it too. So yeah, and with the world, the way I grew up was completely opposite. I'm bringing him up. My parents were very religious,
Huh.
and we're talking about like Orthodox. Orthodox is when the God is a higher power and you should be afraid of him. You
Hmm.
shouldn't even say the word God randomly, because it's a sin. Okay.
Oh,
You
wow.
shouldn't, like, you're already born a sinner and you owe something, like you are not worthy. You owe something just because you are.
Hmm.
And if you go to church, and you're a woman, it's even worse, because women, for some reason, own way more than men. Like if you're on your period, for example, you can't enter the church. It's a
Oh,
sin.
wow.
It's a
R-
sin. And
Huh.
if you go to
I didn't
church
know that.
and you wear pants, they're gonna give you a skirt to cover, because you can't wear pants. You pretty much cannot be yourself at the
Right.
church, because it's judgment, judgment, judgment. You're a sinner, you're gonna be punished, you're gonna go to hell, blah blah blah. So that's how I grew up, with all
Huh.
these fears. So when I moved out from my family and started living by myself, I started like reading and watching the videos and stuff like that. I was completely anti-church person. It's a funny joke, like I was like maybe recovering Orthodox.
Right. Yeah. People always say like recovering Catholic, recovering.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, seriously, like religion is, and it's just hit me that religion is actually always next to the government, so it's a part of a intimidation to make people convenient. That's what I believe in right now.
Hmm.
So I still have friends who try to turn me into a believer, but I'm a very like independent and spiritual. You can call it God, I call it like higher power or love source. There is something out there, but it's not to judge you and it's not to intimidate you. It's just to love you and to bring you what you want to have. That's my relationship right now. So with Max, I try to install into him, of course, not all these fears, right? But completely opposite. I was trying to show how powerful he is and how talented all kids come into this world. It's just our job to develop these talents and
Right.
to go with it, not to limit them, not to stop it, not to control it or guide them because you think it's better for them, but just to go where they go and see what happens. So with him, it's just a magical journey of parenting, of discoveries, of new things. And I just love how now he's at this level where people just absolutely love him because, his Instagram went viral and all these videos. And I feel like I'm talking to the world through him
Hmm.
because all these videos we shoot right now um, has a lot of spirituality in it and our beliefs. And people really resonate with that. And they already know that he's homeschooled. Like I'm not, even though I'm a teacher, I never worked in any school. I never worked for anyone because my method is my method. And whatever they teach and their rules, they don't apply to me. Like I don't want to be a part of it.
Right.
So yeah, so with him, it's just, well, like with any child, I think if you take parenting as a journey which can transform you and make you a better person, it's so enjoyable. I really
Uh,
enjoy it.
yes. What kind of teaching? Explain to people what you do for work.
So I have my online ESL school. I teach immigrants to speak English.
Hmm.
And yeah, I have my very effective method, and I change people's lives. Actually, I love that because when they come to me and they move to another country and they can't speak, they can't achieve anything here, right? They can't do anything here because if you don't speak the language, you can't. And most of them are very educated. They have several careers or even business owners, and here they have to start from scratch, especially when the war hit, between Ukraine and Russia. So I teach them really fast, very effective, not like at school. Language is not a subject, language is an activity. Language is, you can't teach it as a subject. And I'm a linguist, and I put a lot of NLP psychology in it, and people get a job they want after 2 months with me because I train them how to have the job interview,
Oh,
and they move where they want, or they find a partner, or they get promoted, or they get enrolled in the university they wanted after me. So I have a very high percentage of like success stories of my students, and I attract really cool people too. I have like friends all over the world because all my students become my friends eventually.
right. I
Yeah.
love it. And
Hmm.
so I'm telling everybody that at least you and we got to meet in person because you're in LA
Hmm.
and I'm in San Diego.
Hmm.
And that was it's so fun to meet like-minded people that parent in the same way. And then when I hear like what you do and I resonate with everything that you like, just helping people and
Hmm.
changing lives and what kind of lights you up. And
Hmm.
it's when I met you, I go, oh, soul sister, right?
Yes. Yeah, we met
Uh,
before, for sure.
yes, we've been in a different, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to take this now to so you're raising Max and he's getting old enough now that you can, you're watching him like we talked in the first interview, like he started to like be interested in cooking and
Hmm.
you'd never had cooked and I, for as a mom for me, like for an example similar to that, when Paige was 8,
Hmm.
there was a postcard from a pageant with a crown and a dress and she's like, Mom, I want to do that. And I was
Hmm.
like, a pageant? And all I could think of was toddlers and tiaras and all these, reality shows that really were not very positive
Hmm.
reflection of a pageant girl. But
Hmm.
there's something in that postcard that called her. And I
Hmm.
knew at the time, I said, I'll just take her to the call and see what she, then we'll sneak out like she's not doing this. But
Hmm.
it was like that moment where I thought we were just going to go and leave. She said,
Hmm.
Mom, I want to do this. And,
Hmm.
10 years later, we haven't missed a year. We've done multiple pageants and now her sister does them like a year later. She wanted to do it. But
Hmm.
I would never have said that's my point. is when like Max is interested in cooking. You haven't had any cooking experience, but there's something in his soul that is pulling him to show that he's interested in that. And he loves this whole idea of cooking.
Yeah.
He was comfortable with knives and all the things. But when I explained how, like, when we, there's a difference when I used to go to softball games, for example, and
Mhm.
I'd see these parents where they were forcing their kids, and it was like they were living out their dream through their children. And I would always think, oh, that poor child is crying and doesn't even want to be there. You know, what were you
Yeah.
going to say?
So we have I think a complete opposite style of parenting. Most parents, I feel like they like you said, they try to relieve what they didn't achieve, or they try to control and direct kids. And I have stories of among my friends. Like I have one friend who really was into cooking, like my Max, but his parents forced him to go into medicine. He became a doctor, but guess what he's doing now?
Yeah. He's a cook.
He he,
He's
he
a chef.
opened he opened restaurants
Oh,
because it never. So he kind of wasted this time to please his parents because the parents thought they know better. But you cannot force a child to do what he doesn't want and expect him to give you the results. So for me, it was a completely opposite. Like I go where he goes. If he
right.
likes, let's say, art, we're gonna do art. If you stop liking it again, we're gonna do the next thing. Like it's he is choosing what is his passion. And the least thing I wanted him to have is not knowing who he wants to be.
Right.
Right, I knew that I always wanted to do work with languages. I was obsessed with English since I was little. I was singing all these songs, and my parents never like shut it down. They thought that was great. With him, yes, I hated cooking. I hadn't cooked. It was horrible. Like it's a shame. My mom was trying to, look, you're a girl, you need to cook. I was like, no, I'm not gonna cook. I'm gonna marry somebody who's gonna cook for me. I was dating the guys, and I came to my mom. She cooked for me, and I put it in the containers and brought it home. That was my life.
Oh, funny.
That's I didn't even know how to toast a salad. It's ridiculous. So for me to have a child who is into cooking was shocking. I was like, how on earth did this happen? And yes, I could have said, like, you know what, I really hate cooking. We're not gonna do that. You're gonna learn later in life. But no, I was like, okay, so come to me. I put him on a kitchen counter and let him like crack the eggs and mix, and then nice. Oh my God, so scary. But he is so good. And it turned out into his real passion. He understands, for me, food, like I can eat from the saucepan, just not to be hungry. For him, food is an experience. You can't mix everything on one plate. He
Right.
really gets upset. You have to have a knife and a fork. Okay, you have to cut. Everything should be like in style, and it should look good. So for him, he's born like that.
Yeah,
And when I
totally.
was in it, it drove me bananas. I was like, why do we need so many forks and so many plates? Just put it all in one plate. And then when the real chefs reached out to me after we posted the videos, and I asked them this question, I was like, don't even bother. He's born like that. We're like that. For him, food is something else. For you, it's just you're not gonna get it.
Right.
So I respected that, and I was just, as a mother, as a parent, I was giving him tools. So we have so many things to cook with. I started watching the videos, and for me, I didn't know how to cook. So for me, I was learning with him, because who he's gonna learn from. So
Right.
we watched a lot of videos, a lot of tutorials, a lot of this and that, and yeah, it became a thing, and he still loves it, and he still talks about doing catering, open the restaurant and stuff like that. And he was the only child on there was like kindergarten graduation. We skipped kindergarten, by the way, because I overtaught him. So we need,
Oh, you did.
but we
Oh, fun.
keep, yes, it is. Yeah, I didn't know that in the kindergarten they're gonna just do the letters. He already knew how to read. So, but we still went to graduation, and most kids, they're like, I want to be a firefighter, or I want to be a doctor, many doctors. And Max was the only one who said, I want to open my restaurant.
Huh.
And I was like, whoa, everyone was like, whoa, this is, yeah. So with kids, um, if you just understand that kids come into this world already so talented, so open, so connected, so aware. And your only job is not to break it. Most parents sadly break it because they
Mhm.
try to feed the kid into their world. My parenting is completely opposite. I'm trying to fit into his world and adjust as he goes.
Right.
And that's when you let them thrive, and that's when you see how many talents open up.
Right. And when you're saying that, same thing, 10 years past you. But when I've done that and I watch them, and if they want to quit something, they quit it. If they, just like you're saying, we weave through these little experiences and understanding as a parent that they're being called. There's something in, like with Max, his soul is calling him. It's teaching them and having them understand it. And I can talk to the girls, and I know you probably can talk to Max about it too, but explaining how powerful and that you can have anything. And it's like wherever your little path and your breadcrumbs lead you, just keep picking them up. And when
Mhm.
they understand to keep, and I always talk about, taking like something's inspiring you,
Mhm.
take that step. Who knows
Mhm.
where it's going to lead? But
Mhm.
there's so much fear in my experience with parents, the fear pops up, or we've
Mhm.
been programmed as an adult to believe it has to be a certain way, or we
Mhm.
have to have this, it has to look like, this is what they do. And then they go to college, and then they, all these little steps that seem to be like
Mhm.
so programmed and um, so it just
Yeah,
blocks the
limiting.
growth.
Yeah. Mhm.
Limited. Yes, limiting.
Mhm.
So when I look at the way where I'm at with like for Paige, for example, as a senior in high school,
Mhm.
oh, I've just let her lead, and now I see her leading again and figuring out the college she's going to,
Mhm.
and just
And
go,
she is an amazing speaker. She's not afraid of the crowds. She can be on a
no,
stage. You see, that's that, and she picked it. And you were like not really confident in that, but you let her pick. And look, she knows what she wants to be, and
right,
that's amazing.
exactly,
And look how she progressed.
right,
Yeah,
exactly. And
because you
that's what,
let her do
right,
what she wants to do. Yeah, that's what parents should do. Just let kids do what they want to do and go with the flow with them. Don't
right,
try to control and navigate them because you don't know. Like, and how would you know? Like, I mean, we're all, um, my education was very traditional. I hated school. Like, I never had a fun time there. Like, I've always felt like it was a waste of time. A lot of unneeded drama, like with the social life and stuff like that. Instead of focusing on education, I was focusing on, do they like me, or when I fit in this group or in that group. It was just the teachers were mean. They kind of like shut me down. A lot of criticism, a lot of judgment. So the whole educational system, and I ended up becoming a teacher, was very traumatizing for me. So I didn't want Max to be in that because
right,
all of this traditional education system, even though it was like a lot of knowledge, I read a lot of books and very knowledgeable, but still I could have done it by myself on my own with passion, with love, with joy, instead of, doing it this way.
right,
So for me, I didn't want Max to experience that, and I didn't want him to be like a part of it. Like, think of this idea of school. They sit everyone at the same table, right?
mm-hmm,
And everyone should do one thing, even though you don't feel like you have to do one thing right now, because everyone does it. And this is your life for several years, and you have to wake up at the same time. It doesn't matter you want to, you don't want, you have to.
yeah,
You already like program them to do what they don't want to do.
right,
And how can they be happy people?
right,
And yeah, and who parents them with unhappy parents, because they are programmed like that, and they're programming their kids, and they get addicted to the life they don't even like.
right.
So I never wanted that for him or for myself. And yeah,
You
and
know,
I would love to have a completely different generation of kids raised by parents like us. It would be
right.
like a different world.
Oh, it would be a whole different world. And it's interesting now at my stage of parenting is watching the friend groups and who they attract, and they understand that, it's about quality, not quantity. And a lot of the social media, they were later in the game getting their phones, and it was more of like through, if it was needed for school. I think that's when Paige got her first phone, and it was like this monumental day of her life because everyone else had already had the phones, and it was like she got her phone.
Mm-hmm.
But we've always had restrictions on it, and time, it's not
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like you, like we don't go to the restaurant, and I will point out, like, look at that family, all their kids are on their iPads and their
Yeah.
phone, because it's
Yeah.
like, and they're not even having that time together. And our time together at dinner is about our time together. I
Exactly.
understand that. So now they're showing me, like, mom, look at that. There's no connection. And now watching, so going back to the family or the friends and the values that I've instilled in them, and what you'll see as Max grows into, the teenage years, where they start to find, they're finding their little alleys of interest of people and friends that they connect with. And with them, like last night was their formal. It was Paige's
Mm-hmm.
senior year formal, Presley's freshman year. They didn't go. And they didn't, I said, when you see the pictures, does it make you feel like you're missing out? And they both said, oh, mom, no. They're not interested. It's just interest. And I'm feeling like, well, it's your high school. Like, don't you want to
Mm-hmm.
experience a
Mm-hmm.
formal?
Mm-hmm.
And I let them lead. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Some moms are like, come on, it's their high
You
school.
have to, you do it,
Yeah.
everyone does it, go.
Yeah.
Yes,
And they
I
don't want to
bought, I
go,
paid for this. Yeah, it's
but they
yeah,
don't want to. And I
yeah,
said,
and that's fine.
and it is fine. And I think in my heart, we sit and watch the Gilmore Girls, and Paige goes, I'd rather be sitting with you, mom, on the couch watching Gilmore Girls. And that just, and like, it's
That's
not that I'm telling her that, but I'm like, okay. But
mm-hmm.
again, it's about seeing at this stage of the game, I see Paige growing out from her friend group. There's only a
Mm-hmm.
couple, but she's
Mm-hmm.
already seeing, like, her maturity isn't about, it's just not the same. There's not a lot of alignment in the friend group. And it's Presley's feels the same way. And we know I said it's all good. We
Mm-hmm.
don't need to, it's, I always explain, I mean, there's no judgment either, and they understand that too. They're on their own journey. They're at that level.
Mm-hmm.
But teaching kids that their whole life, like we are, and
Mm-hmm.
watching them, like, develop the non-judgment.
Mm-hmm.
They don't, everyone's on their own path,
Mm-hmm.
and to be okay with not going to a dance, being okay not being invited to a party, being
Mm-hmm.
okay. We're good,
Mm-hmm.
but they're leading that, and I'm not doing any of that. And I respect their opinion. I respect their all that.
What you installed is they don't need an event, a person, a thing to make them feel complete and happy. And this
Exactly.
is like the biggest lesson
You're so right.
everyone should have. Everyone should have. You don't need anything to be happy with yourself.
Right.
If you need so many things, and you're never going to be happy.
Right.
But if you teach them that you are enough already as you are,
Yeah.
right? You don't need anyone in your life to just add value to you. And
Right.
I don't like that my other half, like I don't need half. I'm already
Yes.
whole.
A
You
whole.
understand, right? Like, who teaches this? My other half. Why you are half?
Right.
So yeah, that's beautiful. So they don't even react because they don't need this affirmation from others to feel good
Yes.
about themselves. And that's
Right.
just the best lesson you can give
It
them.
is. And I asked Presley this morning to show me pictures of the girls in their dresses. And I mean, the whole line of the girls, and there are probably 15 of them. And I go, does that make you feel like like I'm thinking in my heart? She's like, Mom, no. Like, it wasn't even an absolutely no. I don't need that. And you're
Yeah.
so right. They don't need that to validate. I mean, especially these days with Instagram and
Mm-hmm.
these, the pictures, like when I was growing up, you were 84.
Yeah, 84.
See,
Mm-hmm.
I graduated in 87 from high school. So I was like, those days when I was raised, we didn't have anything to validate. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't need the
Yeah,
likes and the hearts and the,
yeah,
oh, you're
yeah.
beautiful. I didn't, we didn't have that. That was not,
Mm-hmm.
but now when I watch that, but you're right, when I see my girls, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
They know it's about, I don't need that to be happy. I
Mm-hmm.
already am happy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy
Yeah.
within.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so much to be said about that. That says
No,
speaks.
yes, yes. And then everyone should talk about that. And there should be education about that. There should be the class about that. I don't know how this is so important and no one talks about that. I mean, now there are more people, fortunately, but with the kids, I don't see parents teaching that. Like, it's just so rare. I know parents now reaching out to Max's Instagram because they're like, how did you do that? Or they say, like, if my son turns out like your son, it would be fantastic. But for you to happen that, for you to this to happen, you need to do what we were doing, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's so underrated, and I feel like this is the most important lesson you can actually teach anyone. And adults should know that. And so many adults, they don't even know why they're miserable because they kind of created it. They chose this life. They created it with
Right.
their thoughts, with their choices, with their vibrations and energy. You know, like we our personality creates our reality, right?
Right.
So that I'm a bigger believer in that, in this.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were thinking, so let's get to where we were talking about there's such a need, as we say, and why, as you're listening, you see why we feel it. This is such a need in this world right now, is to instill in parents the tools that we believe are just like so important in this day of raising children, regardless if they're just a born baby. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care what age they are, if they're
Mm-hmm.
in a high school at this stage and you still have time.
Mm-hmm.
But that it's just so important. And when Olgita and I got together and we were saying, well, she was telling me so many people are contacting her through Max's Instagram. And I said, well, I have my class that everyone knows about that listens to this, my Raising Confidence class that was inspired through the pandemic and my podcast, where people asked me to start helping their child because they were
Mm-hmm.
struggling.
Mm-hmm.
So that was inspired by people reaching out. So I created my 8-week class, and then I created one for parents because they were wanting to figure out, well, if my child is living at the highest vibration because they've been being taught by all the lessons that you were teaching them, how do I live that way so we can live this high vibration together? So
Mm-hmm.
I taught the parents and the child. But now it's like to collaborate with you and your audience and my audience to
Mm-hmm.
bring together a class where they can take it. And we were discussing like 3 weeks, we'll build it as we go,
Mm-hmm.
but to create a course that people can take with them. They don't have to have it live. They can listen to it when they're, at home, cleaning the
Mm-hmm.
house, doing the dishes,
Mm-hmm.
at their own at their own speed. But I want you to explain, because we've been coming together with, we've been sending out Instagram stories on what
Mm-hmm.
topics would people like to cover, and
And
we were,
guess which one is winning?
which one's winning?
The one is winning is how to actually love and enjoy parenting.
Really?
Isn't it sad? Yes.
That is amazing. I can't
Yeah.
believe that. That
Yeah.
is so sad. Like,
It is sad.
wow.
Yeah, because we don't get it because we really love the parenting, but
Oh,
most parents struggle. They say it's hard, it's challenging, it's expensive, it's this and that. And yes, that's their journey. They don't enjoy parenting.
huh. Wow.
Yeah.
And all I do is grasp onto every living second with them. I
Right?
I just, if I could
Yeah.
go back to Max's age, I would do it in a heartbeat. And
Yes.
I live
Yeah.
that way every single day in the present moment with them. And I don't look back at any part of my parenting and regret. I know I was in every single moment like you are. I lived in that moment with them
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so deeply,
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
the point where people would be like, I would never even say a negative thing. Like, nothing's hard. Like, this is the most amazing gift I could have ever been given, is to
Mm-hmm.
raise these girls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk
So
about our
what
topics that,
so the topics people voted in which we offered, number one is awareness of your thoughts and of your emotions, right? Emotional intelligence, they call it, but it's deeper than that. It's not just emotional intelligence. It's more about like how you create your life, and it starts with the thoughts.
Yeah.
So we're going to teach that, and we're going to teach that how to cope and how to manage your emotions. Pretty much, you're not going to need a therapy after this course because you're going to be so skillful at knowing you as a being, right? So now we're going to teach how to respect everything you feel, because most of the programs, especially traditional education, teaches you that you either have to be positive all the time, which is ridiculous, or the minute you have some bad thoughts, you need to shut it down. And we're going to teach complete opposite thing, because if you don't respect what you feel, how you feel, it's going to come back, and it's not right. Every emotion
Right.
is fine. What's not fine is how you process it. If you sit and dwell on it for too long, or if even anger is amazing. Like for me, anger works. It's usually fast track me. Like if
Mm-hmm.
I'm angry at the situation I created or at myself, I change that fast. Like I progress super fast. So anger is also good. What's not
Right.
good is how you express it sometimes, how people sit in it and like stay in this state.
Right.
And more stuff keeps happening to them because they attract it, because that's how they vibrate. So we're gonna teach the basic, which should be taught since they were little, what we feel, how we feel, and how to manage it and what to do with that, right?
Right.
So we're going to teach that every one of us, and especially kids, come to this world with so many talents and so much power, and how to keep this power, and how to use this power, and how to listen to yourself, listen to your guts, listen to your intuition, whatever you call it, how to connect with higher you, or whatever you call it, right?
Yeah.
Instead of being programmed, watching the news, taking sides, and falling for all this negativity which is loaded at us daily, right? Because
Right.
they want to distract from what you really have and what we really need to focus on. And I don't think that there is anything like that for kids or for parents.
Yeah.
And
There's not.
if you're not a happy parent, you can't possibly raise a happy child. It's just the reality. It's impossible. So I think for most parents, it's going to be the course for themselves first,
I
and
agree.
then they can share it with kids. And we can meet one on one to see what's the situation, what age of kids they have, or it can be for grandparents, it can be for even elder siblings. I feel like it still
Mm-hmm.
can be.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
And it's very flexible. So the group we have, which is going to meet one on one, and we're going to decide what they really need right now, and we're going to teach as we go. And it's going to be very easy, simple, no science, because as we know, if you can explain it with the words, it just complicates everything. They're going to be a very easy, very practical. They're going to be some not like exercises, but stuff they need to do, like make a list, or think about that, or stop and just notice what you're thinking about, right? So we need to start to just from the beginning to put another pattern in their thinking and behavior so that they can just transfer it to their kids.
Right. And, when we talk about thoughts and the words we speak, it's in creating your own, your reality, and, being triggered by something, or even because Max doesn't have a sibling yet, but with my girls, and, they understand if it's, their vibration is so important, right? The thoughts that they're thinking, the words that they're speaking. But if there's something where they irritate each other, they realize it's themselves that they see in them. Like there's no blaming or pointing the finger, because I've told them, like, if you're pointing the finger, there's, four fingers pointing back at you.
Mm.
So remember that, when I teach my classes and they have siblings or they're struggling, and, when I explain to parents, like being triggered, or, in any kind of relationship, when there's a trigger in someone, when someone triggers you, like we were talking earlier about something and it made me think of that. They are, it's about themselves. So to be that, not the victim, and live
Oh yeah.
life when you're young, and being understanding that we're not the victim. It's,
Oh, victim is such a big thing. I just, most of people, they everything happens to them. Like this is how, like, the world is not fair. Life is hard. You
right,
have to work. You have to work on yourself. This is so wrong.
right.
This is so
Oh
wrong.
gosh, I'm with
All
you
these
so
words,
much.
it's just ridiculous. Like, you need to love yourself. The only mission we have in this life is to be happy.
Right.
That's all.
And
That's all. And this is so simple. But people just complicate it, and they don't even notice. They don't even notice the thoughts they think. They don't even notice that the thoughts can make you sick, and they just keep doing it because it feels familiar and it
familiar.
feels like home to
Yep.
them.
Right.
So with this course, I think they're going to be like an energy shift, many changes, and at some point it's going to be uncomfortable, because when you grow, you have to leave the
Right.
comfort zone, right? And the growth cannot be that comfortable. So they're going to notice a lot of stuff about themselves they did wrong or they're doing wrong, and they need to be unlearning pretty much to create the life you want. You have, part of you should die. You need, no, seriously,
No, I agree.
you need to kill the personality inside of you created by this society, because it's all programmed. So
Right.
for you to unprogram, you have to become a different person, and there is no other way.
Right.
Yeah.
I with you 100%. And I think the how to raise happy children is a
Yeah.
great
It's a great name, actually. Maybe we
name.
should like that. Yes, because how to raise happy children, exactly. Happy children, not convenient, not successful. Even if, like, what is this? What is success? What is success? The cars you have, your bank account. What is it? Success? Success is what society defines it. But no one talks about being a happy child, being a happy person,
Right.
regardless of what you have.
Well,
That,
I can look
that
through the girls' Instagrams or meet girls that are their friends, and I can tell you the minute I can read their energy, and I can tell that, they're not secure. They haven't
Mhm,
been raised with the confidence and the belief that they are unlimited beings that have so much power.
mhm,
They've been programmed by the society to
mhm,
believe a certain way.
mhm,
And, if you could, it's like peeling the onion on these children, peeling the onion that has been layered on layered on layered as they have been growing up in these households that hamster wheel has continued to go and go through generations and generations. And I'm so ready to put that stick in that hamster wheel and be so done and show these kids. And when I see the light, like when you say when you teach these immigrants, English, and you just
mhm,
get so lit up when they get it and they get a job and they're like
mhm,
successful and they're so
mhm,
happy. When I
mhm.
see these children, and that's what I want to do with this class that we're creating. And this is my why. This is, I'm sure, yours too, but my why is to get these kids to unget unpeel the onion,
Mhm,
realize their light, see
mhm,
them have that moment of, oh my gosh, the light bulb hit. And
mhm,
this, my whole life is completely, now I can do this. I can try this. I don't
mhm,
have the fear. I don't have the victim mentality. I own it.
mhm,
It's like, gosh, there's so much passion in me that wants that for these children. And it's just getting to the parents to where they understand that once they learn these few things it's not rocket science.
mhm, mhm,
Once they learn and have this under their belt, and they realize, like, okay, when they hear the negative talk, when they are, with their children and they're on social media and they're, talking about something and it's bringing their energy down, they can have the the vocabulary of that's bringing your vibration down. Let's bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do to bring it up? You know, I always say, like, breathe, be the thermostat, not the thermometer. Like, be that person that starts in the room at this level. We're not down here. You make them bring you are the one that brings the vibration up.
Exactly. My example I use is the plane. Like you either go if you go down. I used to do skydiving. So
Oh, wow.
when you get to this is the like I say your attitude controls your altitude.
Right.
You know, so when you reach the certain altitude on the plane, there is a sound, the beep beep beep, very like loud. So when you go down, I always say like, hear the sound, like you're going down. But isn't it fascinating that majority of talk shows, therapists, news, people talk about what went wrong, what is bad, or how this person screwed you, or took advantage of you, or this didn't work, that didn't work, and they keep creating it.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean,
It's like
you
this
should not.
momentum.
You shouldn't even talk about it. Like you shouldn't even do therapy, because therapy is doing the opposite thing,
Right.
right? So if you most kids in therapy because the parents failed, right? Or they just maybe not intentionally, but they did, right. And they hired some random person who is going to sit there with your child and dig into what went wrong.
Right.
Well, we need to move on. We need to acknowledge it and focus on being happy. Right. So yeah, well, it's just completely opposite attitude to majority of programs and educating stuff we have right now.
Right. So let's bring it all in. When we get people to connect with us about this class that we're creating, that I'm so excited about, and I know you are too, we will they can email me, they can look up on our Instagrams, they can DM us. I will put all that in the show notes. Anyway, like what would be your easiest way to connect with you and Max?
Yeah, they can
Your
reach out to
Instagram?
the Instagram. Yeah. Check it regularly, or the email. And yeah, depending on who we have, we're going to create what we create. But the main target is to bring up happy kids. And we all can do that, because parenting is actually easy. People say it's hard and it becomes hard, but it's actually easy. But not everyone should be a parent. Like, I have childless friends, and I was like, thank you. Like,
Right.
If you don't feel like you want to be a mother and a father, I respect that.
Right,
Maybe you shouldn't. We already have enough of broken people.
Right.
So please don't raise another one. Yeah. So, but if you want to be an amazing parent and you want to see your kids thrive, and don't pay for the therapy, but rather invest into this course, which can teach both of you as a parent and your child, to be simply happy and to enjoy life, enjoy the journey, and love yourself first, then yeah, that would be an amazing choice. They can reach out to you, they can reach out to me, and yeah, it's going to be also very easy. You can do multitasking, do it in the car, do it while you're working out, right? Because it's going to be audio video format. No, the practical part is also going to be easy. So the whole point is to show how easy and joyful it can be to raise a happy child.
Right. Yes. What would you if you were to create a school, because I have these visions of, I just had my first retreat a couple weeks ago, and we just created another retreat because the girls got inspired and said, can we do a mother-daughter retreat? So we're doing that March 10th. And they see the value in it because of our relationship. They're wanting their friends to have the same.
Mhm.
And we got home from the retreat and they were like, Mom, I want to share this with my friends. They might not, I don't know if their parents are into it. And I said, well, and start inviting, who knows? And they
Mhm.
all were excited and said, yes. So
Mhm.
I think, when you live in the life like we do, and you wonder if the parents that are struggling or don't have the belief system, um, not that they don't have it or believe in it, but they don't know what to learn and how to do what we know.
Mhm.
It's surprising where
Mhm.
they're like, yes, please, I want that. I don't know what it is that I want, but take me there, and
Mhm.
it's so, I think that we're just ready for this new earth that we're moving into. I mean, I know I'm
Mhm.
already there and you are too, but it's like I always say to the girls, like, you're just shining your light. And what it showed them too, when came home and were reaching out to their friends and inviting them to this mother-daughter retreat. I
Mhm.
said, they all said yes. And it was like, and Paige goes, it kind of surprised her, but she said, I
Mhm.
said, Paige, there's something in you, have light. They're wanting that. When you have, it's like a magnet,
Mhm.
and you see there's a light. When I see Max, he's a magnet to that,
Mhm.
like that. You want that light. People are
Yeah.
just, it's like
But this is funny how that I have parents reaching out and they say, like, do you do homeschool? What program he is on? Like, how do you teach him? Blah, blah. And then I share this and they, no, my son is not like yours. He cannot do that. And I'm like, this is how wrong you
right,
are. This is exactly where you're wrong.
right. I'm
Because
with you.
you just didn't follow the light and you just probably at some point limited him and you created him. And I get it a lot from other parents. Like, not everyone is like you as you are. Every child, but no,
No, I agree. I would
that's just
100%
so
agree with
wrong.
you. Right.
Yeah,
But
you created it.
right. And then, so I guess tell me what you would, if you had to create a school now in 2024, what would be the subjects?
If I were to create a school for kids, um, well, for kids, I would probably have, of course, emotional intelligence. I would have, instead of religion, spirituality. I would have subjects how to adjust to always changing world. Um, I would teach them to think outside the box and think globally, like not like this is the politics, we have to pick this president or that for the president, but globally, the world, what is happening, like energy wise.
Hmm.
So no one teaches that, and that's how we're so limited and so unhappy. Many people are so unhappy because of that. So the traditional education teaches you to show up at a working place 9 to 5 and do what people tell you to do for exact same salary.
Right.
It's horrible. It's a
Right.
horrible life. But people think it's stability, it's a career, it's a success, and they forget to live life because they don't have time to live
Right.
life. But that's their
Exactly.
choice. That's what they signed up for. So I would rather have kids who are unlimited, who understand how powerful they are, that they can shift the energy, they can attract what they want, they can achieve what they want, and they can make others happier as well.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
that would be
Right.
a cool school.
I know, wouldn't it? I was in there right now.
We should do it.
Yeah. Oh, I have it in my, yeah, it's definitely something that calls me for sure. And I think like with these retreats and where I'm like the birth of that will be the one next month with the girls and their moms. Um it's exciting to be bringing what we just talked about to that retreat,
Mhm.
and opening eyes of like how important it is to communicate with your children, especially now when they get to be
Yeah,
teenagers, and
yeah.
how that we like, it's my girls and I, like Paige is like, I always tell everyone you're my best friend, and Presley's the same. But when you have that relationship with your children, and especially when when you get comments like, oh, my child would never think that, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, yes, it's not, there's not, it is so possible. And
Uh-huh.
it's so easy. And
Mm-hmm.
we can start calling it hard and making it hard. But like we talked about this whole time, it's like your words and your thoughts are all creating everything in your life. And
Mm-hmm.
you're responsible, and like, to live this life that this is a gift, this is a miracle that we're living on this planet right now, and to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
let the kids understand their power and what they can do in this
Mm-hmm.
world,
Mm-hmm.
and do or have anything. And I love it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Any last parting words, Olgita?
Um, so I would just invite parents into this journey, and we would be so happy to share what we're doing and how we're doing. And if you're watching it, it's a sign
Yeah.
for you to do it, because everyone can do it. We're not like super people. We don't have superpower or everything. So if we can do it, you can do it. And it just changes life so easy, and to such a great stage. Everything, the people's gonna come into your life. You're gonna attract. We can just do this program with us. I don't want to call it work. You don't have to work on yourself after this. You don't have to seek for anything after this. So the whole
Right.
thing of seeking and working on yourself is wrong, because you're
Right.
already enough. And once you get the tools we share with you, and it's gonna be your lifestyle, and it's gonna be a life changing. I
Mm-hmm.
change lives. It's serious when I say it, I mean it, because people constantly reach out to me, and it's like, you were so right about this and that, even if they didn't believe in the beginning.
Right.
And some people don't even know themselves until you just deep dive into yourself. So this course is definitely going to show you how to deep dive into yourself, and how to teach your child to do that.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm excited for those people who's going to actually come.
Me too.
I'm
Can't wait.
excited. Yeah.
And that's all that, with knowing you and me, like, that's our purpose, as is to shine the light and see who comes and who wants to come on our train to empower our children, empower our families, and have the tools to live this life it is magic. And we
Mm-hmm.
are magical beings that are living on this planet that have no limits.
Mm-hmm.
The only limits you have are the ones that you believe are true, and they're not.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep. Yep. Totally agree with that. Yeah.
all right. Oh, I loved it. Thank you for sharing
Thank you for
this
having
hour
me.
with me. And again, everybody reach out to me. It'll be in the show notes. You can email me, email Olgitta. My email is ashleygoner@gmail.com. You can go to Ashley Goner on Instagram. All my tags. And Olgitta, do you have an email that you can share?
Yeah, it's target.assist@gmail.com.
Okay. Target.assist
Yeah.
at Gmail. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So email either one of us, and we will get this party started, because
Yeah.
it's all about having fun and living
Yes,
life.
exactly. Life is life.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Olgitta. Until next time.